I'm actually free right now to channel 100% of my game 100% of the time.
What's up, CP family? Welcome to another episode of the Complete Performance Audio Experience, a podcast where we share live clips of sessions we do with our athletes. Have a listen, enjoy.
We're compulsively dwelling on what was or hung up and wrapped up with what might be. And this is constantly driving the mental activity. As the mental activity goes unconsciously, seeking to control something you're not in control of, you're simply losing that power. You're simply losing that energy. You're, instead of using your attention to play tennis and engage with the point in front of you, you're using it to interpret and analyze what's going on. And it really creates this slowing down effect. I think most athletes would agree that the more they're in their thought process, the less in the flow of the point or in the moment they are. I think this is kind of like everyone kind of inherently knows this. But I think the difficulty or the challenge is, how do you contend with that? Because for many people, the thought process feels like the tsunami. That's what it feels. When in reality, the moment is the tsunami. And when we can quiet our thoughts about it, maybe we can get up on the board and surf the wave.
Kind of clicked for me is you're not fighting it. You're not fighting what's going on. You're staying present with it, right?
Yeah, so much of like people's reactions, in my opinion, is them just arguing with reality. Like they're like frustrated, they're like, oh, I hit it out. You're arguing with reality. You're arguing with what's happening. You know what I'm saying? So anytime someone's like not present, I see that as them like literally arguing with what's happening, arguing with reality, not accepting what's literally happening.
Yeah, I see it as like you're holding resistance to the present moment. You're missing out on opportunity and you're missing out on what the moment is giving you. But even worse than that, you're actually spending your energy resisting the moment. And so when a point doesn't go your way and you get frustrated or angry, like Chad's saying, you're arguing with reality. You're just arguing with what is. That's inner resistance to the moment. And what inner resistance to the moment feels like is it feels like tension. Make the present moment your friend. Like, be friendly with what is. Because not only are you missing out on what is when you're holding resistance to it, but you're wasting energy. You're literally expending energy, fighting reality and arguing with what is.
Think of the colossal totality of reality. You want to argue with that? That's like arguing with a tsunami wave. And so like that's what I see on the tennis court sometimes is like, this point happened. It's like you're yelling at a tsunami wave. Like you gotta surf that. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta ride that. You gotta be friends with it, or you gotta like go with the flow in a way. Like otherwise you're just self-sabotaging. And I can see so much gains to be made if tennis players like yourself, Nick, can learn massive acceptance of what's going on. Just massive acceptance and embracing of what's going on, no matter what happens. Let's say it's a huge challenge or a huge thing that doesn't go your way. That's even more important to massively accept it, massively embrace it. I just see people shying away. Oh, I wish reality wasn't like that reality. I wish it was like that reality. Bro, you can't create that. Get with what you can create, you know what I'm saying? And so accepting that puts you in a position to respond to that reality. And it's crazy. If you just observe tennis matches, you go to tournaments and you're just like, wow, look at all these people not accepting reality, wishing it was a different way.
Yeah, I think that's something else that needs to be talked about is like being able to process what you're experiencing and not let it like blow you up.
Totally. Because I think overthinking is a byproduct of not properly processing the information you're receiving. And by information, I mean experience. So this is the steps to process experience. Show up to it, which means don't judge it, don't shy away from it. Show up to it, embrace it, feel it. It's where composure comes in. Fully feel the experience. Don't judge it, suppress it, wish it was a different way, argue with reality like we were talking about. those are the we can be those are the two things right there. We can become insane masters of that. Insane masters. It's just like one way to think about it is extreme non-judgment. You want to process experience, extreme non-judgment. Judging the experience is making you not process it. Extreme non-judgment is fully processing the experience. And here's the thing, if you don't process the experience, it's going to create turmoil, patterning, compulsiveness. If you do process the experience, it's going to create expansion and learning at light speed. So we want to really show up to that experience, feel it fully. Don't push it away. Don't be quick to judge it. Don't be quick to solve it. Just do that. Like that goes such a long way. People are so quick to like analyze and break down.
I mean, I'd probably say an athlete makes a judgment about how their last shot or point went after every single shot and point.
Mm.
If you're forming mental activity about the past, you're actually not processing your experience of the present. So let's say you hit a shot and it was not what you wanted, that produces like, not a great feeling within you, but then you start thinking about the shot and you're not processing your experience in that moment. You're shoving the emotional experience down. Maybe you're projecting the frustration and anger out externally, but then you're wrapped up in what it is that just happened and what you're going to do again in the future, and you're just bopping between past and future, so you're not even processing the shot and the point you played. You rack that up over 3 to 5 to 6 hours a day. I mean, the amount of unprocessed experience, and you think you're high level. You think you're high performance because you train 6 to 8 hours a day. It's highly unlikely that you're processing 1 hour of that experience. And if you're not processing and digesting that information, well, your brain is not learning. It's not being retained in your system. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to be harder for that to become second nature and be able to become part of your game and part of your expression. And so to me, I just see with this theme of overthinking is overextension, and people turned high performance into quantity over quality. And really thinking destroys the quality of athletic performance. I'm a firm believer that if you're producing mental activity because you have an agenda about the outcome, that is absolutely and 100% fear-based mental activity. No matter how subtle it feels, no matter how much that's your ego, the limited self that thinks that outcome is more important than expression. If you think outcome is more important than expression, that's your ego. Your ego is a false self. It's the sense of self that believes it's separate from success. That's what the ego is. So that aspect of me needs the validation of the outcome to feel good. The aspect of me that's my true athlete doesn't need that validation. The playing of the game is the validation. The playing of the game is the whole point. And then once you realize I just would stop playing the game and go into my thinking mind. And I'm actually free right now to channel 100% of my game 100% of the time. Every athlete right now is free to do this. And what do we do instead? We produce mental activity to try to control an outcome that's not in our control. And only your fear-based, the fearful aspect of you does that. And so when we can get familiarity with how it feels living between body and ball, which is to be in the here and now, you're resting in a state of awareness, but you're directing 100% of your attention into the next ball you're striking. That's the balance. This is the making it happen, and this is the letting it happen. This is the doing, and this is the being. This is the thinking, and this is the awareness. And this is the balance that creates the best performances. That's the balance that allows the totality of your game to find expression. And people put that on a pedestal and call it peak performance. No, it's just your game, not 90% of it, 100% of it, finding expression. It's not that weird. It's not that crazy. And your thinking mind's gonna go, but how do I make that happen? and then we fall into the same trap. And so that's why we say time and time again, and Chad pointed it out, it's the reestablishing of awareness. It's the dropping the attention back in the awareness that allows the exercising of your attention, which I would even call thought if you're going to direct it like that. It allows it to become that much more effective because it's coming from a place of stability and balance and harmony, and you're not coming from a place of lack and inadequacy and fear and limitation and neediness and obligation. And every moment you do that, you know yourself as that version of you becoming crystallized. And only your thought process that's trying to control the outcome, only thing that's in the way of that whole thing. You're overthinking, the mental activity. It's preoccupied with the outcome is the only thing stopping you from expressing 100% of the game you have. It's in your possession. It's not in your possession.
The way I see it is when there's space for thoughts and you're observing them, thoughts are good because that kind of helps calm the nervous system in a way because you're able to. Because I can see thinking as a way when you have the optimum amount of thoughts is like processing your experience. And so when that happens and there's space inside of you, or there's stillness, then those then thinking can be beneficial. It's when you become part of the thoughts and part of the thinking, when you associate yourself with those things, when you associate yourself with the past, with the future, that's when you become dysregulated and then your nervous system kind of craps out and you're playing in a non-optimal way.
It's huge, bro. I think you
Yeah.
just hit it on the head, dude. And if I mirrored back to you, it's just prioritizing. If you prioritize presence and stillness and alignment to the moment, then the thought process is conscious and it can be obviously helpful and beneficial.
That's what we're learning to do. And when we bring that attention back to the body, that's what you do. You create that space, and you're more in your body and less just in your head and your thoughts. And that's what we mean when we say play in the heart, out of the head, out of your mind, in the heart. You're really connected to your body, to your feeling, to your intuition, and that's way more dynamic than just being fused with thoughts and having your thought try to hit the ball. Now my whole body's gonna hit the ball. Yeah, a thought might come to me where I'm like, what I'm gonna do, or how I'm gonna carry myself, or how I'm gonna respond to my opponent. But you're gonna respond in real time with your body, and so when your attention's more grounded in there, it's gonna work out a lot better.
As a tennis player, you want to be in alignment with that point. Your job is to play each point to the fullest, brand new, this point. And in order to do that, you have to come back to baseline in between each point. And this is the nature of a routine, of an in between point routine. You're coming back to the moment, you're coming back to baseline. This is how you let go of what just happened and you let go of what might happen in the future. This is this is the hardest thing to do for athletes because again, the typical athletic mentality is seeking to produce the outcome and achieve the outcome. And when we do that, we're primarily dysregulated. We're primarily consumed with what just happened and what might happen. And so, to me, a routine is about reestablishing a connection with the present moment, because that's putting you in the position to do what you're here to do, and that's to play each point with no reservation and no hesitation. And the only way you can play each point that way is if you have an unshakable connection to the present moment.
Yeah, and I'll just go over some basics of an in between the point routine, just some concepts for everyone. The basic concept is bringing your attention back to the moment. And there's some portals to do that. Feeling your feet on the ground, conscious breathing, opening up to the peripheral, feeling the racket. These kinds of things can just ground you into the moment. And highly recommend even just doing one of those consistently. And when I mean consistently, you make it a priority to do it 100% of the time in between points for a single match and see what the results are. It could completely change how you reset, recenter, regulate, and get beyond that overthinking that we're trying to move through.
Mhm. And just to touch on the overthinking, when we really relieve ourselves of that overthinking by putting our attention in our senses, just consider that for a moment. There's a reason why they talk about something that's not in your senses as nonsense.
That's so funny.
Or if you make a decision and you're not in your senses, that's senseless. And so the senses are the direct connection to the information in the present moment. That's the direct connection. Like, do you want to directly connect to, you have to be able to do that to be able to participate in the point. Just understanding that as an athlete, you're playing a physical game. You're all the information you need to play when your opponent serves, whether you hit a forehand or backhand, that information reveals itself live in the moment. So if your connection to the senses, like, you can increase that connection. Imagine like you can just increase your like Wi-Fi like bandwidth to just like infinity. Like, you can do that with your senses. You can tune into the moment. What other way do you tune into the moment? Where else is the information of the point outside of coming in through your senses? This is how silly it is to be stuck in uh, looping thought patterns and mental activity. It's disrupting the flow of information from what's going on in the point coming in. It's compromising your ability to respond. You're not even in the position for your training. Everything you know how to do, it can't even find expression because I don't even know what I'm responding to because I'm judging it with my thoughts rather than perceiving it with my senses. And this one switch for athlete could change the trajectory of your entire athletic career because you realize the most important athletic fact, and that's every single point you have ever played happens in and through the present moment. So occupying the present, being in the moment, being in the zone, being aligned with yourself is the only way that peak play can become normal, can become baseline. Because in truth, peak play is just all of my game finding expression. Let's not put that on a pedestal. Let's understand that that can be normal, and we normalize that by simple reallocations of attention from thought to senses, reestablishing that connection with the moment and putting yourself in the position to ball out, to unleash, to play with no reservations. Isn't that the point? Stop getting hung up on all these nitty-gritty details when in reality, you're not putting even remotely 100% of yourself behind each shot that you hit. Why don't we start there? Because if you don't put 100% of yourself behind the shot and then the shot happens and you analyze it, wrong data. Wrong data. What if you put 100% of yourself behind the shot? It would have outcomed completely different. So this is what I see so much of the overthinking is again in the analysis and comparison and categorization of outcomes and techniques and stuff like that. And all of that is just the majority of that is absolutely diminishing an athlete's mind-body connection. And we have to put that on the pedestal. We have to put your presence and participation in the moment and in the point is on a pedestal because if that's not there, your training can't shine. So what's even the point of analyzing it or critiquing it? You know what I'm saying? Your training, what you can do right now isn't even coming out. Let's fix that. Let's correct that. That's the whole premise of the mental game. It's the whole premise of mental performance. That's it. That's simple. You understand that, you own that in your own experience in your own mind. You say, I'm the only one in control of my attention. I'm gonna reallocate it from mental activity to sensory experience. And as I do, my nervous system stabilizes and I'm able to consistently express myself no matter the condition, no matter the demand, no matter the opponent, no matter the time, no matter the tournament. Unconditional, no conditions. My game finds expression. I'm in control of that. That's it. Don't have to complicate it.
Thanks for tuning in. If you want to dive deeper into the topics in this podcast, check out the free crash course below. If you're interested in working with us more closely, fill out the application on mindbodystroke.com. Talk soon. Peace. Love.
Rejoice is a sort of dignified Elizabethan, but it says play. And St. Thomas, aware of this, said that the divine wisdom was above all to be compared with games, because games are played for their own sake, not for any ulterior motive.